Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We are rapidly approaching that big League Cup final on Sunday, a massive game. And in preparation for said game, we've seen both Celtic manager Ange Postecoglou, Rangers manager Michael Beale placed at the same table, in the same room, in the same stadium, at the same press conference. Dana White was not present, but a very awkward experience indeed. Welcome back to the channel. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. It would be much appreciated. As I said in the intro to the video, we are well and truly now in amongst the build-up for this massive game on Sunday. Perhaps the biggest game of the season so far. Could be the biggest game of the season altogether. The chance to take home the first piece of silverware this campaign. And obviously for Celtic, the chance to fight and defend their League Cup trophy that they won last season. One that we don't want to give up. And I'm sure the boys will fight vigorously come Sunday to make sure it remains ours. But the stage couldn't be bigger. A derby game at Hampden Park, 50-50 split. Both teams on a fantastic run of form. It's truly got all the hallmarks of an entertaining game, an interesting game. And they wanted to keep going with that, and the build-up for it with yesterday's antics at Hampden Park. Yes, I said it in the intro. Michael Beale, Ange Postecoglou sat within a foot of each other in what was one of the most awkward press conference experiences I have ever witnessed. We're going to talk a bit about that. We're going to talk about some of the players' thoughts heading into that game on Sunday. Of course, there's going to be plenty more build-up heading towards it on this channel anyway. But yesterday I thought we should focus on quite a little bit because, I don't know about you, but I didn't expect that to be the route or the direction they went with for the pre-match press conferences, to have both managers sitting beside each other for a matter of seconds just to separate them. It was a very awkward watch as they both sat down with each other. They looked very awkward, uncomfortable, you could say. Who wouldn't be beside Michael Beale? But, you know, I really didn't expect that to be the case, and it took me by surprise, and it took, I think, everybody that saw it live on Sky Sports or whatever by surprise, because it wasn't announced. It just kind of came out of nowhere, and we've never really seen it before, have we? Not in recent memory anyway. I can't remember a Celtic manager and Rangers manager sat at the same desk as if they were signing for a massive fight night in UFC, but ho-hum. Viaplay obviously taking the reins of the League Cup this season. They obviously want to spark things up, make it a bit entertaining, but it was a bit of a waste of time. What made this even more awkward heading into it, and when I seen them sitting beside each other, is how much Michael Beale has been flapping his lips about Celtic and about Ange Postecoglou since his arrival at Rangers. Now, obviously, I've had this channel for years now, and with having this channel, I've always made it my aim not to be coming across as biased or caring too much or talking about Rangers too much. But one thing Michael Beale has done since he's came in is no shut up about us, and he's loved to bring us up in press conference. In fact, it was only a matter of weeks ago that he was branding Ange Postecoglou a lucky man for having the amount of transfer funds to his disposal to build the team that he's got. So that was what was really poignant to me going into this and seeing this press conference. The fact that Beale has been flapping his lips and saying all of this, and then they're sat beside each other, you must be thinking to yourself, as Michael Beale, shouldn't have maybe opened my mouth as much, and Ange must be thinking, let's leave it at violent thoughts. In all seriousness though, I thought they would have took that opportunity to maybe ask them questions simultaneously, maybe see if they would respond to one another, but no. They sat down, they were introduced, Ange left the room, and they started with Michael Beale. And we didn't see any interaction between both managers. In fact, it carried over onto the pitch where they went for their photo shoot with the advertisements for the League Cup final. And if you've seen the video of that, the clip of that, they didn't speak a word either. And that's the way you want to see. You know, you don't want to see the Celtic and Rangers manager all friendly laughing away before one of these games. I would like to see the tension and the mind games building before it. But it just looked like a very awkward experience for everyone involved. And I do wonder what was going through the head of the press conference organisers when they thought that that was a good idea. I just think that they could have bypassed that whole... You know, the photos and that, understandable. That happens all the time. You always see like the Celtic captain, Rangers captain doing their stuff at the start of the season, all the promo package sort of stuff. But the press conference, walking in the room together, just for them to be separated after 30 seconds or a minute max, just thought it was a tad pointless, really. So what actually was said at the press conference then yesterday and in the media? Well, Ange Postecoglou, of course, he stepped up after Michael Beale and he was asked his questions in relation to this game on Sunday. And the big question in everybody's mind, and in the media's mind especially, is what is our chances of a treble? And I think Ange Postecoglou has answered it pretty well, because on Monday night we sat here, me and Ryan McGinley on the live stream, and I said, if we win on Sunday, do we start thinking about a treble? But it's a big if, isn't it? It's a big if. We might not win on Sunday. Like there's a realistic chance of that happening. You know, I know we're great, and I think we're better than Rangers, but there's no guarantee we're going to win the game. But obviously, the main question on the mind of the media is treble. Can you do the treble? Because we've got so used to seeing them in recent years, so it's obviously going to be the first thing that they ask about these press conferences. But Ange Postecoglou has kept us cool. He's kept expectations low. And he's taking the game at a time as it should be. You know, a trophy at a time. You can only win one at a time. You don't win 3-1. So we're going to have a look at the manager's comments in relation to that. He said this: mate, you've got to win one before you even think about winning two, or even think about winning three. To me, that's to start talking about stuff that is totally out of our control right now. All we can do is prepare well and be ready for a big game on Sunday to try and win a trophy. Beyond that, come Monday, whatever happens, we'll have preparation for another game, and that will be our focus. I think it's very premature to start asking Ange the question about a treble. I think number one, and not that I big up Rangers that much, and I don't think they're all that great. Obviously, that can change come Sunday. But in all seriousness, it shows disrespect to the opponent. First of all, I think to ask the manager, and expect the manager to come out and say, yeah, we're going to win the treble or whatever, which is obviously never going to be the case. But if you were expecting that to come out the manager, it would be sort of overlooking the opposition we do have to face on Sunday. Then beyond that, we've got a very tough game in the Scottish Cup. We've got Hearts at Tynecastle. By no means is that an easy game. We've struggled there in the past, and you've got to get through two very tough games, Rangers and Hearts, to even start talking about winning a cup double. Now, the league is a different story. For some people, that's wrapped up. That's done. We're 9 points clear. And you could say, some might say that Celtic have probably got one hand on the trophy already. But for the two cups, to start overlooking two very formidable opponents, wouldn't be wise of Celtic, wouldn't be wise of Ange, wouldn't be wise of us as supporters. I think, as Ange says, a trophy at a time. If we get one, okay, we start to focus on number two. That's the league title. And then we look at the Scottish Cup as well, whenever it comes to that, March 11th against Hearts. There is a game at a time approach here, which has worked for Celtic. It's worked for Ange Postecoglou since he came in. We came up short last year, of course, in that Hampden semi-final, but this is the chance for redemption. This is the chance to go out and try and make amends for that loss back in April last year. So I like that, Ange is pretty much keeping it cool. I wouldn't expect any other approach anyway, from a very, wise manager, but the questions are being asked. And I think the big topic that people wanted to hear Ange talk about yesterday was a fitness update, an injury update, who's going to be there for the final. I don't know if we'll hear any more in the coming days. I don't know if there's another press conference in-house scheduled for Friday in regards to Ange and talking to Celtic and the media. But from what we've seen yesterday, it looks as though we're heading into this game with a full squad, fully fit, nobody dropping out. Obviously, Turnbull and Moy were the talking points of last weekend when they weren't involved. Adam Moy being the biggest one. Apparently back in training, apparently ready. Ange Postecoglou's confirmed that, which is great. We need our strongest squad available. We need our strongest depth available. And with Moy and Turnbull back in the fold and back in training, we're certainly offered that option. It does beg the question, we'll talk about this closer to the game itself, in case there is any more developments. It does beg the question, what is our strongest starting 11? Do we go out with maybe O'Reilly or Moy, considering Moy's just been out with a niggle of an injury? But, there's questions to be asked. But it's good to hear that everybody's fit. We're going into this a very strong position. You think of years gone by when we've headed into big games at Hampden, and I'm going to take you back to the last League Cup final we played against Rangers. That day we played Lewis Morgan up front. And it was disastrous. We didn't create that many chances. Of course, that was the game that was famous for us kind of stealing the trophy. But we went in with Lewis Morgan up front because Odsonne Edouard wasn't fit. Lee Griffiths was Lee Griffiths, and we didn't have that depth there and available. And we've had that a few times in big games against Rangers, where certain areas of the team we've had to worry about heading into it. This time round, we're prepared. We're in a great place. Everybody's fit. It's a welcomed change to the kind of position we're in heading to this game. A couple of the players have also spoke to the media ahead of the game on Sunday. It's nice to hear their thoughts and the confidence coming from them heading into this game. Jota and Carl Starfelt throughout the week have spoke to various outlets, and some of their thoughts have been made clear. I don't know if you've seen it, but the DJ, Ewan McVicker, he was on a podcast recently talking about how Jota's taking up the DJing. He's got his decks, he wants to take up being a DJ, he wants to learn. I hope that is not going to come in the way of Sunday's preparations, Jota. That is all I'll say. Make sure you're on the trip. No DJing this week, son. Wait till next week. Anyway, here's what Jota had to say ahead of the game. Speaking to the Sunday Post, Jota said, "Last season I was not part of the cup final because I was injured. As a football player, you always want to be involved in the biggest games. When that game is about trying to win a trophy, you desperately want to be part of that. I'm no exception to wanting that. You always feel a bit frustrated, as I was in that day, but the boys did a great job to win the trophy. I had to watch from a distance, but I was proud of all of them and what they achieved. I tried to do my best to provide some support from the side, and the energy was good." And then he speaks a little bit on this coming Sunday's final, but it's, that until I read this interview in the Sunday Post, I completely forgot that Jota missed out on that cup final. He wasn't involved last year, so it'll be good. I think he's probably, and I know Ange just said there's no stick-ons in this team and there's no guarantees for starting places and it can change. I do feel like Jota has a stick-on to start. He's very important. He's always been good against Rangers. I think he's pretty much nailed on to start this game on Sunday. It'll be good to see him involved in the biggest stage, see how he rises to the occasion. He'll obviously have, as Ian Crocker would say, his say on Derby Day. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he does, because he's terrorised James Tavernier and Borna Barisic and whatever fullbacks he's been put up against on a couple of occasions now. And the thought of him grabbing a goal on Sunday would be absolutely magic. So it's nice to hear Jota excited to play in his first cup final for Celtic. Touch wood, nothing happens at Lennoxtown. And Carl Starfelt as well, he was speaking to the media earlier in the week. I meant to actually bring this up on Monday's live stream with Ryan McGinley, but we ran out of time. He was speaking to, I believe, the Daily Record earlier in the week, talking about his ambitions of scoring the winner in the final comes in. I'd love that. I'd love a Carl Starfelt winner. Listen, I'd love anybody to score the winner. I don't care who scores the winner. It could be me. Sub me on. Sub my 75-year-old dad to score the winner for all I care. As long as it's Celtic who are scoring a winning goal, I'm not honestly that bothered. But he dropped Julian's name and dropped that famous goal, that perfectly onside goal at Hampden back in 2019, saying he would love to replicate something like that. But he was speaking to the Record, saying how he would like to hopefully not have to do too much defending come Sunday, which I hope is the case. I hope we control the ball. I hope we keep the line high. We don't let Rangers escape. But you know what it's like in these games. We'll have to probably weather the storm at some point. And I'm sure Carl Starfelt is more than ready for that. He's had a brilliant season since returning from injury and such. Yeah, great player. Looking forward to seeing him as well. Looking forward to seeing all of them on Sunday. We'll probably do a kind of team prediction video maybe tomorrow or Friday. So yeah, good to hear from the players. That does it then for today. There's honestly not much going on, even though it's a busy week as we build towards this final. Not too much news, not too many quotes in the media either. Just obviously all that business from yesterday's face-off between both managers. Yeah, very excited. Hopefully, both managers facing off on Sunday with only one standing tall, that being Ange Postecoglou. Anyway, like and subscribe. I'll see you all next time.